Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I am up here at Immortals Inc. with Mikey today.
Pleasure to join you today, John. What have we got in our tails, man?
Well, I thought we'd get into a little stuff for 5th edition D&D today.
Ooh, 5th edition D&D?
Yeah, I know. It's unusual.
Well, I'm just thinking, what else could there be? What else?
Well, D&D 1 was just announced, right? And that's coming out in 24, I think.
What is that?
So that's going to be not a new edition of D&D, but a cleanup of 5th edition that playtesting just started on.
Okay.
All right.
Are you
so
with
that's
it?
Coming.
Are you here for it?
Curious about what they do. I think they've got a pretty solid system. I don't think it needs a ton of work, but we'll see what's coming.
Okay. I'm going to do research on that.
All right. Yeah. Take your time. Today, we've got the Book of Fiends. So this is published by Green Ronin Publishing. Robert Schwab is the lead designer. This is an update of a 3rd edition book. It was originally published in 2003, and it won an Emmy Award.
I was 1 year old. 1 year old.
This was updated through a crowdfunding project in 2020, and it was released in print this past March of 2022. So it's a fairly new book still. This is for a lot of people. I think if you're running the Out of the Abyss campaign, there's content in here that could be fantastic for supplementing that material. But if you're generally interested in the unholy demons and devils and how they might influence and interact with your 5th edition campaign, there is a ton of material in here. This is a setting book, so you do have information about these entities and the places that they live. This is a creature compendium, so there are a lot of new monsters in here that are nicely statted out and given a lot of details about their motivations, their goals, and their targets. There are player resources in here. We'll touch on that later, but there's some character options that are very specifically relevant to the Unholy Planes. This is a dark and disturbing book, all right? There is some content in here that is very much not child-friendly. Keep that in mind.
Viewer discretion advised.
Some people may be attracted to it because it's not child-friendly. Some children may be attracted to it because it's not child-friendly. But it's a dark book. The title kind of tells you that from the start, though.
Are you the type that's like, if it's a rated R movie, you're more intrigued into it or no?
Sometimes.
I think I am. I'm guilty.
Well,
yeah. If it's rated R, I'm like, all right, I'll watch it.
There is a lot of stuff that could be used for theming a campaign or supporting an existing campaign if it's going down any of these darker paths. And there is a lot of fantastic artwork in here, some of which really is kind of unsettling and goes back to those themes I mentioned earlier. I do want to mention there is a companion book for this that kind of goes in the opposite direction. That is the Book of the Righteous. If you need a book about angels and servants of the good pantheons, that book's available as well. The book is divided into 3 sections. You have the Planes of Perdition, Fiends, and Service to Evil. The Planes section gives you setting information on the Abyss, Gehenna, and Hell. So these are all evil places and are broken down basically by their chaotic, lawful, and neutral allegiances.
Tell me there's more than one hell, basically?
Well, there's more than one bad place.
Bad place.
Yes.
Wonder what happens in the other place. What was it called?
Gehenna.
Gehenna?
So you got the Abyss, Gehenna, and Hell. And if memory serves, the Abyss is chaotic, Hell is lawful, and Gehenna is neutral.
Where would you rather go?
None of them, right? Not a good time. So Fiends covers demons, daemons, devils, and then is fallen angels, a word that I can't pronounce, but it's spelled Qlippoth, Klipoth maybe? And Service to Evil is all about character options. So yeah, Hell's lawful evil, the Abyss is chaotic evil, Gehenna is neutral evil. You have descriptions of each of those 3 realms, discussions of the key NPCs in each of those places, and let me tell you, there are a lot of them. In particular, as it's lawful, Hell is very hierarchical, so you've got very specific titles for each of these entities as well as their placement in the unholy order. Generally speaking, these higher, more powerful entities are not statted up. I think that gets back to the whole if you stat it, they will kill it philosophy. But these beings are meant to be nigh on omnipotent, operating at a very different level of power than player characters. And so characters kind of exist at their whim. So you get more into their motivations and possibly their roles as maybe a sponsor or someone who might be working against the characters in sponsoring somebody else. There are about 130 different extra dimensional entities in the Fiend section. You've got your daemons, the neutral evil ones. They're kind of themed around the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
I feel like I should run a Shazam game at that point.
Yeah. I think that's like definitely a competitive thing that can happen.
Demons are your chaotic evil ones. There's explicit rules for summoning them. You've got your devils, again, lawful evil, and there's a whole hierarchical system for how they fit in, as I mentioned. Fallen angels are basically celestials who did something very wrong and have been exiled from the good guys' side.
Shunned from the good guys.
Yes. No. And now they are working with the bad guys, or at least living among them. Kleepoth, again, probably mangling the pronunciation, are very cosmic horror-esque. So John's talking about something Cthulhu related, right? They have a Lovecraftian feel to them. They are much less comprehensible. Their motivations are generally unknowable.
Unpredictable?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And then finally, you've got Unspeakable Evil, which is kind of a grab bag of all kinds of different things. The one that's, going to immediately jump out at pretty much anybody as something, I got to use this, is the Abyssal Dragon. Because, it's a dragon, and it's a dragon that's unholy and fiendish, and it's a dragon. You're going to want to eat a lot of PCs with it.
Is it red scaled?
Let's not spoil too
Yeah,
much.
you know what? That was a good answer.
Come in and check it out. Finally, there's, like I said, the book's split up into 3 sections. The last section is your character options. And these character options are either for a really evil campaign where everybody's doing just foul things, or their character options if the GM wants to stat up the bad guys like player characters. In either case, they're dark. For barbarians, you have the Path of Hatred and the Path of the Infernal Hunt. I'll leave it to the viewer to infer what that might be exactly, but it's unpleasant. Clerics have 3 new domains. Those are Fear, Pain, and Rune. Not real big on the healing spells at this point. Paladins have an Oath of Eternal Darkness, right? Again, they're not doing a lot to help people out with that. Warlocks gain a new patron called the Deceiver, as well as the Plague Lord, which to me felt like a real Warhammer shout out to Nurgle, the god of pestilence, and then a Demon Lord patron. There's a whole section on corruption and how increasing levels of corruption could affect characters. There is a new background, which is the Cultist. So again, possibly fitting in nicely if you want to do something that's kind of Warhammer fantasy themed. And then there's some new feats and some new spells that really tie into all of the fiendish material here. This is Green Ronin Publishing. It's 254 pages, hardcover, full color. I'm not going to flip through it because, like I said, there is some really disturbing artwork here.
Is there one you could show that isn't just I
mean, the cover itself is gorgeous and unsettling, and the cover itself is very indicative of the content that's within.
Yeah, we could just leave it at that. We have a lot, you have to see for yourself.
I mean, you're welcome to check out Green Ronin's page. I'm sure they have some sample art that will, pass through things. 254 pages. $50. We've got it up here on the shelf at Immortals Inc. Stop in, take a look through it, check out the artwork for yourself, and make your own judgment call.
Well said, John. Hey, judgment call is all yours, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.
Good gaming, folks.